Try to imagine this. A group of soldiers on patrol deep in the jungles of Vietnam. Imagine that we are that group of soldiers. We are very young. We haven't known each other very long, but the constant crisis of the combat going on all around us has bonded our lives together. The jungle around us is alive with sounds. The enemy is everywhere, slipping silently through the jungle, which is so familiar to him and so foreign to us. We are battle fatigued, our nerves on edge, dead, tired, worn to the bone, numb with this nightmare of a war. And so we stop in a small clearing to rest. It can't be for long. We have to keep moving. But for one blessed moment, we can stop, sit, and rest. Then it happens. The sound of fast footsteps, the thud of something falling in the midst of us. A hand grenade has been thrown into our circle. For a split second, it is on the ground among us. In the very next split second, one of our men throws himself on top of that exploding grenade, taking the hit, absorbing the blow, shielding the rest of us, saving us, his own body destroyed. He dies. We live. I don't know how you would feel about it if something like that happened to you, but I know how I would feel. I know I would feel from that day on that not a day would pass that I would not think of him and what he did for me, the death he died so that I could live. It would be a debt I could never possibly repay. I would never be the same person after a life-altering experience like that. And I know that I would think of him every single day of my life for the rest of my life. His name, his face, his ways, his habits, his courage. Back in the States, I would go to his hometown and I would find his parents and I would tell them. I would tell everyone. I would tell anyone who would listen to me what he did for me, the life he gave me, that his heroic death would not be in vain, that his life and his death would never be forgotten. And I know that in some sense I could no longer live just for myself alone. In some sense I would want to live for him, and in some sense I would want for his life to live in me and through me. And I would want the life I lived from that day forward to be as brave and as beautiful and as strong and as true as his was, a life worth dying for. You know, this is not only the best way, as Don Salter told Nancy, for us to honor our veterans who took those kinds of risks to be the kind of Americans who are worth dying for. As a person of faith, I can't help but think that this is also the best way for us to honor Jesus. 20 centuries ago, he died for us, that we might know the height and depth and length and breadth of God's unfailing love for us. He took the hit. He absorbed the blow. It was as if God was saying through the cross, if I must die in order for you to live, if that's what it takes, then that is what I will do. Now, ever since then, that life-altering, history-changing event, men and women who loved him and followed him have wanted their lives to be as brave and beautiful and strong and true as his was. They've wanted to be people worth dying for. His death not in vain. His death not a tragic end, but rather a victorious clarion call to rise up and to live as he lived with an unconquerable love that death cannot touch. I've read that before he died, Winston Churchill planned out his whole funeral, every detail of it. His plans called for a bugler to be positioned high in a balcony in the dome of the St. Paul's Cathedral in London, and after the benediction, the bugler was to play taps to represent the end of Churchill's physical life. The bugler would play taps, but then, as soon as taps was finished, he wanted another bugler placed on the other side of the dome of the St. Paul's Cathedral to play reveille. In other words, it's time to get up. It's time to rise up. It's time to live. So it is with Christ, isn't it? He died for us, but he rose up for us, and he calls us to rise up and to live for him. Please stand. Our closing